All statements in this video are alleged. Please do not send hate to anyone mentioned or shown in this video. Consumerism, defined by Investopedia.com as an economic and social system that encourages the consumption of goods and services as a means of obtaining well-being, is becoming more prevalent than ever with the spread of social media. With hauls,
I spent $600 at Sephora.
PR unboxings,
Can we take a moment for this packaging?
and hidden ads,
telescopic lift, and I'm not sure anyone's going to ever be able to compete with this.
consumerism is becoming increasingly impossible to ignore. It has led to the normalization of overconsumption as well. Hello, my name is Pseudonymity, and today we are going to be talking about consumerism and its effect on the social landscape. If you enjoy this video or have any topics you'd like to hear me talk about in the future, comment them down below. Now let's get started. In all corners of the internet, you can find overconsumption and consumerism being encouraged. Today I want to start with the beauty side of the internet. As more beauty influencers become popular, the idea of having drawers and drawers of makeup or skincare is constantly promoted. People want the newest and best things when they haven't even used the products they already have. This has been highlighted by the recent trend of Sephora kids. Before we start this segment, I want to say that we should not be making fun of literal children. Most of the time, the kids' parents are to blame, so if I do show any clips with minors in them, I will be blurring their faces in the interest of privacy. Also, when I do mention these kids, please remember that I am not bringing them up to laugh at or shame them. I am talking about them to emphasize the negative impact that consumerism has on adults and kids, which is obviously not their fault. Sephora kids, known as preteens that have unlimited access to Sephora's makeup and skincare from their parents, were constantly visiting cosmetic stores, typically Sephora, to try testers or buy products in large amounts. Often, testers would end up extremely messy, and Sephora employees went to social media to share their concerns. These employees didn't just talk about the mess that the kids left, but they also discussed their worries for the self-esteem of these girls and the products they were using.
Excuse me, do you have retinol?
Aw, are you shopping for mom?
No, this is for me.
How old are you?
Oftentimes, the kids were using retinols, which can be very damaging to the skin, especially for children. This leads me to the conclusion that they wanted the best and newest products, not because they actually needed them, but because these products were being sold to them by beauty influencers and companies alike. Preteens are extremely impressionable, and many of them were concerned about developing wrinkles or acne in the future if they didn't use these products. This is where I worry about the marketing tactics of large skincare brands, like Drunk Elephant. Skincare and makeup have historically been marketed towards women with harmful tactics that participated in establishing the beauty standards we have today. The fear of aging is taken advantage of by many skincare companies. According to the beauty standards of today, wrinkles are one of the worst things that can happen to a woman. This thought process has been so widestream that some content creators have taught themselves to stop using their forehead muscles to lower the chances of developing wrinkles in the future.
You might think it's sad, but I get messages every single day of people thanking me for teaching them how to stop using the muscles on their face.
These people are giving up expressing their emotions and sometimes go so far as to say that they limit how much they can smile. You have to wonder how much of that fear is being passed down to these children who spend their time glued to this content. This explains why they are wishing for retinols and other harsh skincare products to avoid aging. I think we can all agree that this form of marketing is extremely predatory. It pressures people to buy products by promoting unrealistic results.
This is an anti-wrinkle straw. When you drink out of a normal straw, you purse your lips, which causes lines and wrinkles over time. And we don't tolerate wrinkles at Bare Plastic Surgery.
When these companies push the narrative that you need a product, it results in FOMO, the fear of missing out. Due to the large social media platforms that we can access at any time from any place, FOMO is more common than ever before. Because of its spread, people follow purchasing trends by buying large collections of products, like Uggs or Stanleys, and they might worry that they will be left out or made fun of by their peers if they don't. This intense feeling of needing the newest thing results in mobs fighting to get their hands on one of these products. I want to step in real quick and say that FOMO did exist before social media was so accessible, but we are just seeing it to a larger extent now that children are growing up with social media so readily available. When impressionable audiences like children are reached, FOMO is ingrained into them more than it would be compared to the influences of their friends alone. And children are often targeted in advertisements more than you may think. If an ad ever has to specify to ask an adult to make a purchase, it is directly targeting a child. But that only applies if the ad is properly disclosed by the agency or influencer. This brings me to the lack of disclosure for ads, especially on short-form content. When a person knows that they are being advertised to, they are more likely to be skeptical of the customer testimonials shown because there's a clear bias present. However, when influencers like Michaela Noguera fail to do the proper disclosure in an endorsement, It leaves fans more likely to purchase the product because they believe that their favorite influencer really uses and enjoys the product. When these fans realize that they have been lied to, they start feeling misled because they purchased the product thinking it was an unbiased review instead of a paid ad. On top of that, influencers are trying to get on the good side of brands more than ever in hopes of getting a future deal with them, making their reviews already questionable. This isn't to say that influencers shouldn't take sponsorships. I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as they know the company's history by researching them, disclose the ad properly, and would actually endorse the product even if they weren't being paid for their review. Actually, I think that sponsorships are a great thing most times because they support the content we watch so we can see it for free. But sponsorships aren't the only reason influencers glorify products unnecessarily. An influencer might work to get on a company's good side because they may receive a PR package or get on the company's PR list. PR stands for public relations, and it can come in many different forms. A PR list is essentially a company's list of creators or celebrities that they send PR packages to. And a typical PR package is a set of products that a company sends them in hopes of getting promoted in a video of theirs. Now, these boxes aren't inherently bad. Of course a company would want to promote their products, but it gets to a point where they become unnecessary. To start, they often include intricate packaging that adds very little to the package aside from the waste it creates. On top of that, companies will send an entire collection in a package even when the person they are sending it to can't use all the products. When a company sends an entire shade range of foundation in a PR package, an influencer obviously can't use all the shades, and sometimes they can't even use any of them at all. Of course, they could do giveaways, but oftentimes content creators choose not to due to the complexity that giveaways can include. Occasionally, a brand will send PR to a professional makeup artist, typically one who has a social media presence. In this case, it would make more sense for them to need all shades of a release. But even then, products can pile up, making it nearly impossible for makeup artists to use each item before its expiration date. If even a professional makeup artist cannot use all these products, how do we expect normal people to? It is becoming more and more common for people to post hauls for all sorts of products, especially beauty products. This is getting to the point of people having drawers of expired makeup that they wouldn't have used anyways. This was becoming such a problem that a trend called Project Pan was created.
Let's do a full face only using my Project Pan products.
Project Pan is when people choose certain items to use all 2025 until they hit pan or use up all the makeup. But most of the people doing this challenge will end up being sent more PR, which obviously is not their fault. However, we should discourage companies from sending so much product. A few new items for the creator to try is a much better solution because they can actually use the items and test them before posting about them. And any items of the release that the company doesn't send to creators can be donated to women's shelters instead. Or the money put towards these products can be donated to different causes instead of spending it on excessive PR that the recipients will most likely never look at twice. A brand that I want to talk more about is Shein. Shein is one of the many fast fashion companies that are often included in large hauls along with SheGlam, Shein's makeup line. Due to their low prices, influencers will order hundreds of clothing or makeup items all at once, encouraging large hauls of low-quality products. It is very common for fast fashion companies to use cheap materials and treat their workers poorly, allegedly, and many people have raised concerns about the workers and the fact that the clothing would quickly end up in the thrift store or dumpsters. Because of the low-quality materials, they are not able to biodegrade as much as a higher-quality product might, making the waste even more appalling. Not to mention that Shein allegedly steals designs from creators for their website, further solidifying the harm that this company has caused. I could go on and on about examples of consumerism like blind bags, which I actually am going to talk about in a future video, but I think that for now, I'll go into my final thoughts for this video. Overall, I think that everyone plays a part in consumerism. I often want to get the newest and best items, which isn't necessarily bad. It only becomes a problem when people start to buy so many items that they can't actually use them. I've had my fair share of buying things that I really didn't need or products that I hardly ever use. And I fear that this trend of buying unnecessary things for dopamine boosts will lead to extreme waste and negative effects on children's brain development more than ever. I think the best thing we can do to avoid letting overconsumption take over our lives is to continue to educate ourselves. I learned a lot while making this video, and I wonder what would happen if society started to make more conscious choices regarding our purchases. Analyzing what we are buying and why we are buying it would make a huge difference. Is it a need or a want? And why do I need or want it? When we can start to acknowledge how consumerism is taking a role in our minds and purchases, we can work to undo the damages that these companies have caused in their rush to get more sales and profit.